I never imagined waking up in the Middle Ages would lead to a life-changing journey of survival. My heart raced as I looked around. The sky was gray, heavy with clouds that seemed close enough to touch. I could hear the distant clang of metal swords against shields. A battle was brewing somewhere just out of sight. The air was thick with the smell of smoke and something else, fear. I felt it seep into my bones. Everything felt strange. The ground beneath my feet was dirt, not pavement. I stumbled, my modern sneakers out of place amidst the muck and rough terrain. And then I saw them, the villagers. Faces lined with worry, eyes darting with anxiety. They whispered amongst themselves, casting glances in my direction. Who was I to them? An intruder? A savior? Or a curse? I recalled the stories my grandmother told me. Tales of knights and dragons, of villagers forced to band together against unseen threats. But this was real. The harsh winds whipped at my skin, drawing me deeper into their world. It was all too baffling. There were no cars, no electricity, just flickering torches illuminating the paths of that unknown realm. Then I spotted a girl. She looked about my age, her clothes tattered and stained. Her eyes sparked with a fierce fire. I felt a connection, a silent plea for help in her gaze. She was different. She wasn't scared, not completely. There was hope in her trembling hands as she fought to keep the villagers united. I wanted to help her, but how? I moved closer, my heart thundering in my ears. I wanted to ask her name, wanted to know about this strange new life. But before I could say a word, a deafening roar erupted from the woods. My breath caught in my throat. The villagers scattered, fear etched into every face. The girl turned, her eyes wide with terror, and suddenly, everything was chaos. The ground trembled as something massive approached. My survival instincts kicked in. I wanted to run, but how could I leave her? A figure emerged from the tree, lean, an enormous, shadowy creature, glistening teeth bared in a primal snarl. My heart raced, pounding against my ribs like a drum. What had I stumbled into? This wasn't just a different world, it was a fight for survival, the kind I'd only seen in movies. I was lost, yet connected, terrified yet determined. I had to act. But could I really make a difference here? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. The roar of the creature echoed in my ears as I gripped the dirt beneath my feet, fighting against the instinct to flee. There was a sadness in the girl's eyes, a deep sorrow mingled with defiance. I took a shaky breath, feeling the weight of her gaze like a tether binding me to this moment. If I fled, what would that say about me? I couldn't abandon her, not when she appeared to be their only source of strength. As the shadow loomed larger, I could see more of its form, scales like dark armor stretching across its back, fire flickering behind those razor-sharp teeth. It was a beast from folklore, a monster forged from nightmares. A deep growl resonated from its throat, sending a chill deep into my core. But I had to stand my ground. Everyone, to the safe house. The girl shouted, her voice slicing through the panic like a knife. The villagers, still paralyzed by fear, responded with hesitance, their feet rooted in the muck. Then, I saw the flicker of hope in her stance. I wanted to join her, to fight beside her against the beast. But how? What could I offer in this tough realm? I hesitated, glancing over my shoulder where the few brave souls began collecting their courage. Together, we could forge a path through fear. I took a step toward the girl, my voice barely a whisper. What do we do? Distract it. She yelled back, the fire in her eyes igniting something in me. "Let it away, and I'll rally the others." I nodded, feeling a surge of adrenaline course through my veins. I caught a glimpse of a broken branch nearby, a makeshift weapon. I lunged for it, wrapping my fingers around the gnarled wood. The villagers were starting to move, and the girl was with them, ushering them towards the safer paths. The beast, however, was still focused on us, its eyes narrowing like lanterns in the night. "Hey! Over here!" I shouted, brandishing the stick and waving it like a wild banner. The creature turned, its gaze snapping toward me. I felt time slow as it lumbered forward, heavy footfalls shaking the ground beneath me. This was madness. I was standing against something I had no hope of defeating. But I had stepped into this world, and I would fight for it. Just as the beast lunged, mouth wide open, a glimmer of light caught my eye from within the trees. A bolt of something magic bursted forth, striking the creature square in the chest. The impact sent it staggering back, roaring in rage and confusion. I turned to see a cloaked figure emerge from the forest, a staff in hand, wielding the mystical force like a beacon against darkness. "Stay close," the figure urged, his voice resonating with authority. "You may have a chance." There was an urgency in his presence as he channeled more energy, guiding the beast back into the depths of the woods. The villagers scattered, renewed by the unexpected arrival. The girl's eyes, wide with gratitude and admiration, found mine, and in that fleeting moment, I saw a bond form through peril. With the creature momentarily distracted, we rushed to the handcrafted barricade of our makeshift safe house. The smell of smoke mixed with the earthy fragrance of the woods enveloped us. Hearts raced as we secured the entrance, the earlier chaos still palpable in the air. I caught my breath, glancing at the girl beside me. "Who was that?" I managed to ask, my voice trembling. "The last hope," she replied, gratitude lacing her words. "He's our only chance against the smoke and shadow that haunt these lands." But in that moment, triumph was short-lived. An unsettling hush fell over the group, broken only by the heavy silence of the forest. The girl fixed her gaze ahead, a frown creasing her brow. "Something's not right," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "They usually hunt in packs." Panic returned, a gnawing dread clawing at my gut. How many of those beasts were lurking in the shadows? And what would happen if they returned? Just then, a low growl pierced the air once more, and fear tightened its grip around us, but within that dreadful moment, a flicker of defiance ignited in my heart. I had yet to find my place in this world, but I wouldn't let fear dictate my fate. Not now. Not when there was a chance to fight alongside those who mattered. As we braced for the coming storm, a voice broke through the tension, piercing the gloom with unexpected warmth, a voice of kindness and resolve. "Together, we can overcome this." The cloaked figure stepped closer, the light from his staff casting a hopeful glow, yet my heart sank with a chilling realization. I had joined a battle larger than I could have ever imagined, and the true cost of survival was yet to be revealed. This was just the beginning, and whatever lay ahead would test not only my courage but the bonds we were forging in this ancient, unforgiving land. Little did we know, secrets entwined in the very fabric of this world were preparing to surface, and with them, answers I had never sought but would soon crave, dramatically changing everything I thought I knew. Fear gripped my chest like a vice as I moved closer to the makeshift barricade, feeling every heartbeat echo in my ears. The shadows around us felt alive, almost conspiring with the oppressive silence that had settled. I could sense the lurking presence of the beasts, the predatory eyes watching from the underbrush, waiting for their chance to strike. The cloaked figure raised his staff, a soft blue light illuminating the surrounding trees. "This light will protect you," he said, his voice steady despite the palpable tension. "But we must remain vigilant. They will return in greater numbers." I exchanged a glance with the girl, whose fear had transformed into a fierce determination. "What's your name?" I asked, my voice barely above the distant rustle of leaves. "Arya," she replied, not tearing her gaze away from the darkness beyond. "And you?" Eli. I don't know much about fighting or magic. I want to help. My vulnerability felt exposed, yet in this world where courage was a currency, I longed to contribute something. Anything. Arya's lips curled slightly, a flicker of hope glimmering in her eyes. Then help us hold this line. You won't be alone. Before I could respond, a chorus of growls erupted from the trees. The chill of fear washed over me as a mass of monstrous shapes emerged from the shadows, their eyes glowing with malevolence. Panic surged through the villagers behind me, but Arya gripped my arm with surprising strength. Stand tall, Eli. Remember what you're fighting for. She urged, her voice steadying me. With the fear swirling within, I nodded, finding a strange comfort in her presence despite the gravity of our situation. As the beasts advanced, the cloaked figure unleashed a wave of light from his staff, momentarily blinding the approaching creatures. Now! He commanded. Aim for their eyes. We moved as one collective force, swinging whatever we could find: sticks, stone, even our bare hands against the horrifying mass barreling toward us. My heart raced, and for a moment, the rhythm of the fight consumed me. The world narrowed down to Arya's fierce expression and the primal instinct to protect those who stood beside me. The first beast lunged at me, snarling, and I barely stumbled out of the way, adrenaline surging as I swung my stick. It cracked against its muzzle, causing it to screech in pain, giving me a momentary surge of triumph and courage. But the joy was fleeting as another creature barreled forward, its sharp teeth bared, and I stumbled again, falling hard against the ground. Eli. Arya called out, her voice laced with panic, but I couldn't muster the strength to get back up. Darkness spun in the corners of my vision, fear bubbling into a choking panic. I was helpless and felt a cold grasp envelop me. Just when I thought the weight of despair would swallow me, the cloaked figure surged into the fray, channeling a powerful blast of energy that sent the beasts reeling backward. Get up! We're not finished! He shouted. Hands trembling, I pushed myself to my feet. With every ounce of hope I could gather, I spotted the fire pit nearby. Desperation sparked a wild idea in my mind, igniting the remnants of courage I had tried to conjure. The fire! I shouted, scrambling towards the pit that had previously contained warmth and safety. If we could make it grow, they might back off. Arya caught on immediately. Yes. The light will scare them. With the cloaked figure creating bursts of magic to keep the beasts at bay, we rushed to gather whatever dry wood we could find. My fingers shook as I fumbled with matches, each strike feeling like a small victory against the looming dread. Finally, flames danced to life, creeping up the sticks we stacked together. Just as the fire blazed brighter, a howl pierced the air, the howl of a beast echoing not just through the night, but through my very bones. My heart dropped, feeling a chill sweep over the warmth we had ignited. It won't hold them for long. The cloaked figure's voice wavered slightly as he wielded his staff, sweat glistening on his brow from effort. We need to make a stand. With everyone gathered tighter, I could see the shifting shapes lurking just beyond our light. I locked eyes with Arya, the determination in her gaze mirroring my own. We had to protect what little hope we had. Just as the fire surged and cast flickering shadows, I glimpsed movement, a figure darting through the trees, cloaked in darkness. Wait! I shouted, recognizing the figure's silhouette, a shadowy shape that felt familiar yet out of reach. We're not alone. But before I could call out again, tendrils of smoke began to slither from the forest, pooling in our encampment like a swirling tempest. An unsettling warmth rose from the flames, the kind that didn't promise safety but foretold danger. Arya breathed in sharply, and I felt an unmistakable weight settle in my chest. We had been watched, and something far more sinister was approaching than just the beasts. A haunting voice filled the air, echoing through the trees. You think you can hold this world together? It will shatter, just like all the others. My heart raced as fear battled against the flickers of hope in that moment, pressing against my resolve. The cloaked figure steadied himself, preparing to counter whatever darkness approached, revealing a fresh ember of courage. But I couldn't shake a deeper dread settling in. the echo of the voice resonating with unwelcome certainty, and just then, the ground shook in a violent quake. Our true battle was just beginning, and secrets long buried were ready to unravel in a way none of us could have ever foreseen. The quake subsided, leaving behind an eerie silence that suffocated the air between us. My heart thundered in my chest, and I felt my breath sharp and shallow as I searched the all-consuming darkness for some sign of what was to come. The fire blazed brightly, casting flickers of light around us, but its warmth felt fragile against the encroaching shadows. What was that? I managed to whisper, turning to Arya, whose face had drained of color. The courage she had displayed moments ago seemed to wane under the weight of uncertainty. Before she could respond, the cloaked figure spoke again, his voice steady yet tense. This is not just a fight against beasts. We are facing the darkness that seeks to consume all hope. Stay together, no matter what. A tremor ran through me at his words. I instinctively reached for Arya's hand as the shadows beyond the fire flickered in unsettling patterns. The silhouette I'd seen moments ago was gone, swallowed by the night, but I could feel the weight of its presence still lingering, as though it drew closer with every heartbeat. Suddenly, a strange melody floated through the air, a haunting lullaby that enveloped us like a shroud. It stirred something deep within me, a mixture of nostalgia and unexplainable fear. Do you hear that? I asked Arya, my voice trembling. Yes, she replied, her brow furrowing in concentration. It's beautiful, but it feels wrong. Just stay focused on the fire, I urged, pulling her a little closer to me, feeling the warmth of her presence as a small comfort against the vast unknown that loomed around us. As we kept our eyes on the flickering flames, another rumble shook the ground, and a shadowy figure emerged from the darkness. My breath caught. It wasn't just one beast but a mass of them, shrouded in smoke, their eyes glowing brighter than before as they moved with an otherworldly grace. The cloaked figure raised his staff once more, channeling energy into the air. Prepare yourselves, he shouted, and I could see the magic spilling from his fingertips, shimmering like stardust amidst the chaos. Our resolve rallied, adrenaline surged through me. I gripped the makeshift weapon tighter, feeling the solidity of it grounding me as I prepared for the unknown, but as I looked at Arya, her eyes fixed on the shadows, something shifted in her expression. Fear drained from her face, replaced by a haunting understanding. Eli, she whispered, voice barely above a breath. I think I know that song. It's been sung to me before. It calls to the lost. What do you mean? I stammered, confusion curling around my thoughts. There are stories, ancient ones, about those who succumb to the darkness. It draws them back, promising freedom from their pain. The beasts we fight, they are not just creatures of malice. They are whispers of what once existed, twisted in sorrow and fury. Arya, I warned, urgency creeping into my voice as the beasts inched closer, the song intensifying, pulling at the edges of my sanity. Don't listen to it. But the light in her eyes began to dim, as though the melody was weaving its way too closely to her heart. There's something here, Eli. Something familiar. A surge of panic gripped my chest. Don't you dare let it take hold. We're standing together, remember? She blinked, seeming to shake off a fleeting moment of distraction. Yes, I know. I know, I'm just scared. In that moment, a fierce growl erupted from the shadows, and a massive creature lunged at us, teeth bared and eyes wild. The cloaked figure unleashed another blast of light, but the beast skidded aside, moving faster than anything I had encountered, and we were caught off guard as it swept toward us. Move! I shouted, pushing Arya aside just in time, the feel of the creature's breath hot on my skin as it barreled past. I stumbled but quickly regained my balance, adrenaline flooding my system. Without hesitation, I swung my makeshift weapon at the beast's flank, striking it across the side. It howled, a piercing sound, and for a moment, I felt a potent rush of victory. But another howl from the darkness followed. Echoing a call to arms, summoning more of the creatures from the shadows, the cloak of darkness enveloped us, a swirling malevolence that made even the bravest among us shake. I fought with all I had, but the overwhelming number of beasts crashed like waves against our feeble defenses. Just as despair threatened to take root, the lullaby shifted, blending with the growls, a poor imitation of comfort mixed with chaos. Suddenly, I could see glimpses of figures behind the beasts, elongated shadows morphing and flickering, revealing lost souls intertwined with the night. My heart sank, connections to what had come before were surfacing, and I understood then the weight of their sorrow. Eli! Arya cried out, her voice breaking as she struggled between two worlds, the haunting lullaby and the fight for survival. We have to resist. Don't let it claim us. The cloaked figure cast another wave of light, illuminating the chaotic scene, and I saw it the flickering faces of those long gone, those lost to the darkness in which I now stood. My breath hitched, realization clouding my thoughts. This was not just a battle for survival. It was a testament to the memories that longed to break free, to reclaim their existence. With a fierce cry, drowned out by the howls, I grabbed Arya, pulling her close. Fight beside me. We'll arm ourselves with our own memories, our own light. In that moment, I sensed shifts around us. The spirits behind the beasts began swaying, flickering between anguish and the yearning for release. And as the darkness pressed in, I held tight to Arya, the warmth of our presence merging against the cold of despair, ready to stand against whatever horrors awaited. Without warning, the chorus of shadows erupted, taking a physical form. Just when I thought we had exhausted our defenses, the figures surged forward, ready to challenge everything we had fought to protect, demanding our next move with a chilling clarity. Remember the light, Arya reminded me, her voice weaving through the chaos. It's what will guide us home. But as the spirits converged upon us, I couldn't shake the feeling that it wouldn't just be a struggle against the dark beasts, but a confrontation with the very essence of our past, one that could unravel everything we thought we understood. The world around me had become a tempest of shadows, a swirling mass where the light of our fire stood in stark contrast to the engulfing darkness. We had faced many trials, but nothing prepared me for the onslaught of sorrowful echoes descending upon us, seeking to drown us in waves of despair. As the figures moved closer, their forms twisting between the realm of the living and the lost, I was terrified by the idea that they could bring back memories I wasn't ready to confront. Eli! Arya's voice cut through the cacophony, desperate and trembling. What if they can hear us? What if they want something from us? In the very depths of my being, I understood that the specters were not solely monsters to be vanquished. They were remnants of what we had abandoned, pieces of ourselves displaced by pain and time. I fought to keep my feet steady beneath me, but the haunting lullaby threaded through the air like invisible vines, tugging me toward the aching familiarity of moments lost. We're not alone, I reminded her fervently, grasping her hand tighter. We have each other. Remember why we fight. Remember the moments that gave us hope. With every shimmering visage, a flash of a memory sparked vividly in my mind. Laughter shared under the stars, hands clasped in silent promises, the warmth of connection that once felt unbreakable. I closed my eyes for a moment, searching for a fragment of strength, a flame that could push back against the shadows. As if sensing my thoughts, the cloaked figure interjected, his presence steadying in the chaos. Each spirit may hold a key, a memory, an echo of the past. If you can reach them, you could find the glimmer of hope they carry. But be cautious, for they can ensnare your heart. Ensnare? I echoed, humorless. Isn't that what they've already done? With a determined nod, I faced the horde of shadows, fueled by an anger I hoped could power our resolve. We won't let them steal our light. As I took a step forward, the whispers grew louder, overwhelming an unbearable cacophony, succinctly echoing human experiences of loss and longing. One figure emerged clearer than the rest, maintaining its twisted form yet emanating an inviting glow that beckoned to me. It was a woman dressed in flowing fabrics, her face half hidden, yet the glint of recognition danced in her eyes. Help us, she pleaded, a soft melody woven into her voice. Release us from the burden of our pasts. We are lost, but with your light, we may find our way. I hesitated, torn by my instinct to resist while an undeniable empathy began to swell in my heart. What do you mean? How can we help you? I asked, feeling Arya's fingers tighten around mine, pulling me back slightly as she sensed my wavering resolve. Do not listen, she urged, the urgency in her voice piercing through the thick atmosphere. They want to draw you in. The past will suffocate you. But the woman's gaze was piercing, her sorrow palpable. Free us by remembering. By embracing your own burdens, you can have us remember our love. It will bring light to the darkness that haunts us. Is that true? I croaked, seeking Arya's reassurance as indecision simmered beneath the surface of my fear. If I face my past, will we be able to defeat this? Before Arya could respond, another growl erupted from the depths of the shadows, fracturing our focus. The beasts surged forward, restless and angry, their glowing eyes a testament to the pain they bore, a pain I now recognized as part of a shared human experience. As I stood there, a surge of memories flooded back, laughter, loss, the moments of joy before everything changed. It seemed the shadows craved this acknowledgement, they fed off it like wolves to a feast. I felt my heart race, teetering on the edge of understanding. Then, the woman in the shadows extended her hand, a signal of shared suffering, a link between our worlds. With each moment of hesitation, I felt Arya's grip tighten on mine like a tether to sanity. I can't, I shouted, frustration bubbling into my voice as I fought against the pull of the figure. My memories are too painful. Then you are lost too, she countered, the edge of despair cutting her words sharper. But you can choose differently. Just then, the beast lunged again, giving me no choice but to react. I swung my weapon, striking with a desperation that startled even me. The beast fell back, but the cacophony surrounding us intensified, and my senses were assaulted by the cries of the lost. The flickers of what was consumed me. Eli. Arya's voice echoed in a way that felt distant, yet close. Fight. Don't give in. Remember why we're here. In that moment of clarity, with the darkness closing in on all sides, I faced the spirits once more. I could feel Arya's unwavering spirit behind me, urging me forward. I took a deep breath. I choose to remember. I will not be consumed. With the declaration resonating in my chest, the tug of the past intensified, but I forced my mind to focus on the warmth between us, the hope that ignited like a flame against the cold. And then, through the shadowy figures, I glimpsed something remarkable, an anchor amid the chaos, but just as I prepared to draw it forth, a chilling realization hit me: if we were to confront the darkness, we had to be willing to accept the consequences of our truths. And in a world filled with echoes, the shadows had already begun whispering my deepest fears. Before I could wrestle my thoughts into action, the creep of dark humor washed over me as the echoes started to take form, and I felt myself being drawn into the depths. The ground shook again, this time with fierce intensity, as the shadowy figures merged, tantalizingly tantalizing. Do you wish to know the truth? The voices beckoned, a single haunting laugh stitching through the fabric of despair. And just as I thought I could grab onto Arya's hand, the ground split open, shaking our very foundations, and I could see nothing but the vibrant glow of darkness swallowing all light around us. Eli. Arya screamed, but it all became a cacophony of sound flooded with echoes of lost dreams and possibilities. In that moment, as the shadows closed in, I realized that perhaps facing the darkness wasn't just about fighting the beasts. It was about confronting what I'd hidden from myself for far too long. And when the dust settled, I found myself alone in an abyss, staring directly into the eyes of what I feared most, the truth of my own lost spirit. The void wrapped around me like a suffocating shroud, pressing in from all sides. I could hear the echoes of laughter morphing into screams, the joyous moments shifting into memories tinged with bitter regret. I stumbled through the darkness, grasping for anything that could remind me I wasn't truly alone. Fear twisted within, coiling tighter as I fought not to lose myself in the shadows that caressed my skin like the cold touch of despair. Eli. Arya's voice broke through the swirling mass, its warmth like a lifeline. But I couldn't find her, we were separated in the chaos. Stay with me. focus on what matters. Her words burrowed deep, and in that moment of desperation, I sought a fragment of our shared journey illuminated by hope. It flickered in my mind like the faintest star in a darkened sky, the quiet moments when we had leaned on one another, fighting for survival as we navigated obstacles that had seemed insurmountable. A quiet strength surged through me, reminding me that I had faced my past before, not the recollections of pain, but the fleeting instances of joy. A shimmer caught my eye as tendrils of light danced in the depths. I moved cautiously, drawn toward it while the whispers intensified, merging into a mantra, "Remember us, remember us." Their yearning accompanied every step, and I recoiled slightly, shaking my head in defiance. "No!" I called out, though my voice felt small. "You are not my chains." But as I approached the light, the figure from before the woman draped in ethereal fabrics materialized anew, her eyes shimmering with understanding. "It is not the chains you hold, but the burdens you bear. Release them, and you may find salvation." I hesitated, the weight of her words anchoring me to the ground. Memories bombarded me, each a reminder of how little I had truly confronted. A childhood spent in fear, a time when vulnerability was a luxury I could not afford, a betrayal that stung like salt on an open wound. Each dusty piece of the past resurfaced with a sharpness that threatened to cut deeper than skin, unraveling me in the process. Just then, I felt a shift in the air, an unexpected kindness. The shadows that pressed in began to retreat, their eerie energies tapping into a forgotten vulnerability. They seemed to understand. They flowed around me instead of pushing against me, and for a moment, I felt a strange sense of connection to them, as though we could share the burden together. "Eli," the woman said softly, drawing nearer. "Hold on to your memories, not as weights, but as lessons. They can help you find your path through this darkness." I took a shaky breath. "But what if I don't want to remember? What if it breaks me?" Her gaze softened, the twilight of her sadness reflected back to me, and I could feel Arya's spirit, echoed in the shadows, wrapping around my heart. "What if remembering makes you whole again? Genuine light cannot be birthed without the acceptance of shadow." A sudden chill swept through the air, and I felt myself leaning against her wisdom, acknowledging the unease that built within, a blend of fear and anticipation. Maybe what she said was true. Perhaps by looking into that darkness, I could find pieces of the Eli I had once been, the parts one had fiercely guarded, and it was then that the shadows erupted, writhing violently, angry that I had dared to defy their grip. I flinched as the ground trembled beneath me, further splitting the chasm that had collapsed around us. The woman's eyes widened, and panic etched her features. "You must be strong." With a newfound resolve rising within me, I summoned the fragments of my memories, the laughter, the tears, the moments that had defined me but did not own me. "I choose to remember." I shouted into the chaos, holding tight to the warmth of hope, and the memory of Arya's touch filled my heart. In that moment, I could feel the power of those memories swirling around me like a tempest, igniting the darkness with flickers of light. Colors exploded in the abyss, illuminating faces of the lost alongside my own, revealing truths I thought I'd buried forever. They, too, had suffered, and my solidarity with their pain made the weight feel lighter. But before I could harness that energy, an ominous roar pierced through the veil. A monstrous shadow emerged, its shape shifting as it towered over me, swallowing the light whole. Its eyes glowed with malevolence, and from those depths, I could hear laughs, a sound so familiar it twisted my heart, dredging up fears I had not anticipated. "I come to claim what you've buried," it hissed, its voice like dragging fingernails across glass. "The darkness you seek to escape is a part of you, Eli. I will consume it all." I stumbled back, rattled, my mind spiraling as it churned with dread. The truth flowed through me like poison, saturating the air. As the creature loomed, the memories clashed with sharp realities, the moments I had avoided, the fears I had suppressed, they all burst forth like a dam breaking. "Eli! Fight!" Arya's voice was fractured but fervent, pinning me to the spot. "You're stronger than the darkness." But was I? In that instant of realization, as shadows twisted around me, all hope faltered under the weight of the creature's claim, and with desperation clawing at my throat, I understood I was standing on the edge of more than fear. I was teetering on the precipice of truth. Then it struck me with devastating clarity. To face this shadow meant confronting everything I had hidden, the darkest parts of me that threatened to spill into the light. And as the world around me began to drizzle away, swallowed by the beast's insatiable hunger, I felt the ground wobble once again beneath our feet, a vortex ensnaring us in its wicked embrace. Eli. Arya's voice faded, like pages torn from a book, as the shadows surged in. Just as it felt as if the abyss would swallow us whole, light flickered and despair hung heavy around my heart. All at once, I realized that facing the darkness was not merely a choice, it was the only way forward. And as I stood, teetering on the edge of an enveloping truth that threatened to obliterate me, I felt time freeze. One chance left to break the chains of despair, if only I could muster the courage to embrace the very darkness I had long feared. As the monstrous shadow loomed, its breath hot against my skin, I was submerged in memories the darkness had once tried to erase, the tenderness of a mother's embrace, the laughter of friends that felt like home, and the moments not burdened with regret, fragments of a life where I dared to dream. But buried within them, I felt echoes of failure, of promises unkept, and moments snatched away too soon. They swirled around me, a tempest of emotions as I grappled with the severity of my situation. Eli. Arya's presence was like a flicker of warmth, battling the icy grasp of despair. Remember that day by the river? We spoke of our dreams, our futures. The recollection flickered in my mind like a gentle flame, igniting something deep within. I remembered sitting on the bank, our feet trailing in the cool water, the sun kissing our skin. We had laughed away our cares, eyes shimmering with hopes and shared laughter, a bond strengthened by the knowledge that we would always have each other's back. Arya, I breathed, desperation curling around her name. I could feel her spirit guiding me, nudging me toward the light, not just the external brightness fighting against the shadow, but the light within, the one I had long forgotten. But how could I access that light when my heart felt so heavy? The monster stirred, anticipation radiating from it as if it thrived on my apprehension. Each beat of my heart felt like a simultaneous drumroll to impending doom. Face it, Eli. You cannot escape who you are, it taunted, its voice echoing like thunder, swirling in my mind. You are defined by the shadows lurking within you. No! I shouted, defiance igniting within me. Those shadows do not have the power to define me. In that moment, something unusual happened. Instead of the suffocating blackness tightening its grip, I felt a rush of energy surge through me, an unexpected surge that made my heart race and my spirit soar. I thought of the kindness I had received, the small moments that had stitched together the tapestry of my life. The stranger who shared their umbrella during a storm, the teacher who believed in me without reason, the laughter of children playing unaware of the world's burdens. Those memories formed a bridge, connecting me to the part of me I had long buried beneath regret and fear. I am all of it. I roared into the churning tempest. I am the light, and I am the darkness. But I control my story. The moment hung in the air, suspended in time like a beautiful dream struggling against awakening. Those words transcended my fear and resonated, piercing the veil of darkness that had long defined my reality, but the shadow was not finished. It conjured the echoes of regret I had tried to hide. What about the choices you regret? The paths you never took? The love you let slip through your fingers? As images of my past flashed before me, Arya's sad smile the day I turned away from our plans, the betrayal of trust that extinguished friendship, and the moments of doubt that chipped away at my belief, an icy dread wrapped itself around my throat. No, I whispered, my voice trembling. I won't allow you to twist my past into chains. Fight, Eli. I believe in you. Arya's presence surged, her conviction somehow breaking through the stifling air. Her faith became the anchor I needed. With every fiber of my being, I embraced those memories, both joyous and painful, recognizing them as the essence of my humanity. I am not afraid. I choose my path, and I choose to remember. You will not take my light. The shadows recoiled as I unleashed the energy building within, the tempest erupting into a vibrant storm of colors that illuminated the inky blackness. The monstrous figure shrieked, caught off guard by the intensity of my resolve, and I felt it shrinking back. Would it give in? Would I succeed? But just then, in the eye of the swirling chaos, a startling noise splintered the air, an echo that resonated with a chilling familiarity, one I hadn't anticipated. It was a sound that blossomed from another life, a laugh, haunting yet joyous, like the apparitions of the past calling out to me from the shadows. The realization struck me like a lightning bolt. Was it possible? A shadow I had long thought dissolved into the depths of my memory rematerialized before me, another confrontation I had not expected. Eli, it whispered, the ghost of someone I once cherished, looming just beyond my reach, the color around me dimmed, threatening to settle once again into eerie darkness. Now you will truly understand the depths of your sacrifice, the monster retorted, gloating over the shift in my focus. Face your past, Eli. Or lose everything you cherish. In a moment that felt stretched beyond time, I was left reeling, my heart racing as I stood at a precipice, teetering between the remnants of hope and the haunting shadows of those buried regrets. With every ounce of strength gathered from the fragments of hope, I had to confront this truth before it consumed me, the very essence of my humanity. But as I stared into that ghostly face, the looming shadow behind it felt like both punishment and salvation. And in that instant, the abyss began to deepen, the winds of fate howling around me, as I braced myself for the inevitable, knowing that in choosing to face my past, I may lose everything once again. The shadows swirled, shifting like a tempest, each wave threatening to pull me under. As I confronted the specter of my past, every inch of me quivered with uncertainty. Eli, the voice echoed softly, yet it was a thunderclap in my heart, reverberating with memories I thought long buried. The face emerged, familiar and haunting, a painful reminder of what once was, of laughter shared and dreams intertwined. Lena? I breathed, disbelief slicing through the veil of fear. She stood before me, aglow with a light that seemed both ethereal and unearthly, yet marred by the sorrow etched across her visage. The fleeting reminiscence of her delighted smile, one I had abandoned long ago, felt like a dagger, deep and unyielding. Why are you here? Panic fought with the swell of emotions. A longing wrapped its tendrils around my heart, tugging insistently. It felt impossible to reconcile this moment with the reality I'd chosen to live, where her laughter was but an echo, drowned out by the weight of regret. I came to remind you, Eli, she whispered, her gaze tethering me, of the dreams you left behind. Of the love you allowed to slip away. The shadow behind her tightened, a malicious reminder of the choices I'd made, the alternate paths I had turned away from. Memories clashed within me. I saw Lena's face at the bridge, the day I turned my back on our dreams to chase an ambition that felt hollow. The streets we wandered hand in hand, the secrets whispered beneath starlit skies, felt like another lifetime. Please, I pleaded, my voice wavering. Don't torture me with what could have been. I chose a different life. But did you? She countered, a reluctant sadness in her eyes. Did you really choose, or did fear make the choice for you? Each word hung heavy in the air, absorbing my resolve and deepening the chasm within my heart. The shadows pulsed with life, as if sensing my turmoil. Every choice you chased led you here, they whispered, their voices filled with disdain. You wanted to run away and create a truer self, yet all you've done is flee. I'm not fleeing. I shouted, desperation lacing my voice. I'm fighting. Are you? Or are you still just running from the truth? Lena's gaze pierced into me, and I felt as though I were stripped bare under her scrutiny. Was I really fighting? Or was I still cowering in the dark corners of my consciousness, grasping at fleeting hopes, rather than facing the truth, the fears that shackled me to a life that was not my own? The shadows surged forward, clawing at my resolve, whispering dark tidings. You think this struggle makes you strong, Eli? It is simply a mask, a way to hide from the pain you never faced. No. I shouted, the weight of their voices conflicting with Lena's gentle presence, swirling in my mind. I am not afraid of pain. I am not afraid to face my past. I took a step forward, breaking the invisible barrier that separated me from her. I loved you, Lena. I loved what we had, but I thought it was necessary to move on. I thought I was doing the right thing. But at what cost? She asked, a glimmer of sympathy in her gaze. The right thing for whom? You have sacrificed connection for ambition, Eli. But in doing so, you lost a piece of yourself, a piece that would have made you whole. The shadows recoiled as if shocked at my admission, wavering slightly, but then they surged forth again, angrier, writhing like snakes. You're weak, Eli. You think you can find solace in the past? You are nothing but a coward, begging for forgiveness that one day come. Don't listen to them, Lena said softly, her voice cutting through the chaos. Remember the love we shared. The dreams we nurtured together. There is beauty in the choices you made, even the painful ones. You have the power to rewrite your story. And for a fleeting moment, the tempest surrounding us stilled, suspended in a fragile serenity. Memories of us burgeoned into a lush tapestry, intertwining laughter and tears, as the realization settled deep within me. I understood now. It wasn't about erasing my choices or denying my past, it was about embracing them. Acknowledging that they were part of the mosaic that formed me. I am not defined by my regrets, I declared, drawing courage from Lena's unwavering gaze. But the shadows writhed with fury, lashing out, their voices shrieking in discord. No. Do not awaken the light within. You will suffer. As the air thickened with tension, their onslaught intensified. Lena stepped closer, reaching out to grasp my hands. Trust in your strength, Eli. Let the light break forth. Together, we will face this. In that vulnerable moment, the fabric of reality felt thin, as if the universe had shifted with the fragility of a dream. Light erupted from within, intertwining with the essence of our shared past. It was transcendent, fierce, and illuminating. But as I began to rise, a darker truth flickered in the edges of my consciousness. Eli, Lena whispered, her expression shifting as an ominous shadow loomed at the periphery, one I hadn't fully recognized until now, the realization that she was not free from the chains that bound me. In that instance, a jolt of terror sliced through me. Just as I gathered the hope to confront the shadows, the whisper unfurled like a chilling apparition. This was only the beginning. Your sacrifices will not go unpunished, the creature roared, a furious tempest once again coalescing around us. Lena! I shouted as the darkness surged, pulling her into its depths. No, I want to let you go. But in a final, heart-wrenching flicker, I watched as her light dimmed, and the shadows reached for me with precision, poised to swallow all hope as I braced myself for the inevitable. I couldn't lose her again, not when I had just found her. Moments flickered like dying stars, and the abyss loomed closer, the weight of my ghostly burdens heavier than ever. The world twisted violently around me, shadows swirling as if mocking my determination. My heart clamored in my chest, each beat a brutal reminder of Lena's vanishing light. This can't be how it ends, I gasped, dread laced with desperation as I reached out, my fingers grasping for her warmth even as the darkness ravenously pulled her away, eroding the fragile bond we had just begun to rebuild. But even as the shadows snarled, a flicker of hope ignited within me. Lena, hold on. I cried out, my voice rising above the cacophony that threatened to swallow us whole. Suddenly, the shadows halted, as if halted by a sudden gust of wind. Their attention shifted, and I seized the moment. I am not afraid of you. I steadied my breath, drawing all that remained of my resolve. You can't take her from me. I will fight for her. A pulse of light erupted within my soul, igniting the very air around me, and in that moment, I felt a surge of power coursing through my veins. I could feel Lena's presence alongside me, the warmth of her hand just out of reach, yet palpable, a tether to everything that mattered. Together, Lena, I whispered, the words a mantra, binding my spirit to hers despite the chaos. Eli, her voice echoed, faint but clear, cutting through the suffocating darkness. You can do this. Remember the strength in your heart. The shadows writhed erratically, but the light we summoned pressed against them, a living testament to our shared journey, our intertwined fates. With every thought of her, every cherished memory, I resonated with my past and fanned the flame of my spirit, pulling on the primal force that rippled around us. Let her go, I declared, channeling all of my wounded love, the laughter and tears we had shared, the moments that had shaped our connection. You don't understand love. You only feed on despair. We will not let you win. The shadows screeched, as if my words cut through their very essence. But I could not falter. I had felt Lena's warmth brushing against me, a flicker of hope against the relentless tide of despair. She was here, tethered to me even amidst the chaos, and together, we could face this. Suddenly, a loud crack echoed through the void, the shadows recoiling as if struck, and I saw a shimmer of light enveloping me, intensifying with every heartbeat. Keep pushing, Lena urged, her spirit undeterred, her presence cementing my resolve. You have power beyond your fears. Remember, love conquers all darkness. In a surge of strength, I tore apart the curtain of shadows, racing against the growing void, scrambling to reclaim her light from the darkness threatening to extinguish it. I will always choose you, I screamed, and in that instant, the shadows faltered, letting loose a feral howl, disrupted by the power of my conviction. But in that crucial moment, everything changed. From the depths of the darkness, an object surged forth, a shard of obsidian, glimmering malevolently as it flew through the air. Time slowed, the glint of light hitting the object and revealing the truth of its wickedness. My heart sank. It was a piece of my past, an artifact of my choices that I thought I had buried along with my regrets. No, I whispered, recognition dawning terrifyingly clear. This was the talisman that had always bound my fate to the darkness, a cruel reminder of my fear. The moment these shards tore through the veil of hope, I felt something grisly wrench within. Eli, watch out! Lena's voice echoed, but the warning came too late. The obsidian shard struck me in the chest, a sharp pain exploding in tandem with the fraying edges of my resolve. I staggered backward, the darkness of my choices threatening to consume me whole. From the depths of my heart, I felt rage, nostalgia, and a tumult of emotions overwhelm me. In that moment, the dichotomy I had fought so hard against shattered into 1,000 pieces, my love for Lena battling against the bitterness of regret and lost time. Eli, she cried, and as I spiraled into the void, the shadows gnawed at my edges. You have to choose. You cannot fight for me and against yourself. Words both surged and sank within me. I fought against the shadows, clinging to her essence, feeling her companionship light a fragile spark in my heart. But as the darkness circled tighter, I felt my resolve start to fracture under pressure, and dread tightened its grip around me, a harbinger of inevitable loss. Choose, Eli. Lena's voice became a frantic echo. Don't let them take you. Don't let this be the end. And then, as if the universe shifted, I was pulled back, memories flooding through me again of laughter, lost time, and dreams woven deeply within shadows now. The intensity of that final moment lingered, igniting an unquenchable fire, pushing me forward, but as the last remnants of my sanity blurred against the encroaching darkness, an unexpected figure appeared, someone I had not anticipated to see. A figure from my past, a bringer of chaos and clarity, materializing from the shadows, and the mere sight of them sent shockwaves of realization crashing into my chest. Lena! I shouted, the urgency of my plea no longer just for my lost love but also for this moment of truth. This isn't the end. But so much had shifted in that instant, and just as the darkness began to loosen its grip for a fleeting second, the truth loomed before me, a revelation swirling like a storm. I am the keeper of your regrets. The figure called to me, their voice reverberating ominously through the tumult. And I can either reclaim everything you lost or drown it all in shadows. The weight of their words thudded in my heart, and I realized this was only the beginning of a harsher test. Would I have the strength to face the past, to embrace the darkness I had invited back in, and free Lena from its grasp? Or would the shadows finally take everything I had fought for, returning to claim their due? As light flickered weakly against the encroaching void, I steadied my heart for the battle ahead, knowing that every ounce of love and regret would be needed to prevail, and the stakes had never felt higher. The choice loomed, and for the first time, I wondered if I truly had the power to rewrite my story to save her and reclaim the path we deserved. As I stood on the precipice of uncertainty, the shadowy figure loomed like a specter of my past, and I realized something profound. This was not merely about Lena, or the love I had lost, it was about me and who I had become in the shadow of my regrets and mistakes. The darkness had wrapped tightly around my heart, whispering the mistakes of a lifetime as my own insecurities clawed at me, threatening to pull me into their relentless abyss. Eli. Lena's voice broke through the tumult, urging me with fierce desperation, you have the power to choose. Don't let them drown out the light inside you. I felt her presence wrapping around me like a warm embrace, igniting a flicker of courage deep within. I could feel the weight of her spirit, tethering me to truths I had long ignored: the laughter we had shared, the dreams we had built, and the love we almost surrendered in pursuit of ambition. In that moment of clarity, I summoned every ounce of strength and conviction resting in my heart, willing to confront the very darkness I had tried to escape. Enough! I shouted, finding my voice amidst the chaos, fueled by Lena's presence and the power of shared memories. You will not take us down any longer. I will face my shadows, I will embrace my past, and I will let it guide me to my true self. The shadows writhed violently, recoiling from my declaration. Foolish boy, the figure hissed, its voice dripping with disdain. You think light and love can conquer all? They will only lead you back to despair. But I stood taller, braced by determination and love. Those memories, they are my strength. They remind me of who I am beneath the weight of regret. And I won't let you define me. With every word I spoke, the floodgates burst open, and a cascade of memories streamed forth. I envisioned the warmth of friendships, those moments where I had felt alive, the joyous laughter that had once echoed through my soul, and the quiet moments I shared with Lena that gave me hope. Each memory became a flicker of undeniable strength, lighting a path through the consuming shadows that I felt myself standing on solid ground, no longer gripped by the rawness of fear but buoyed instead by the richness of my experiences, my triumphs, my failures, my love, and my hurt. The shadows swirled furiously, their dark claws reaching for me with ferocity, but I summoned every ounce of love and light I bore. I choose to remember. I choose to live. I yelled, and in that instant, the presence of the dark figure faltered, the smirk dissipating in the face of my resolve, momentarily displaced by the warmth that enveloped me. As the light surged around me, I felt a shattering sensation that reverberated through the air, almost like the world itself recoiling from the power of my declaration. The shadows who had haunted me began to waver, dimming and flickering like dying embers. Face the truth, Eli. Lena's spirit cried out, now a tether I could no longer ignore. I took a breath, letting the light fill my heart with a radiant warmth. It had come from the depths of my truth, the essence of who I was beneath every mistake and every fear. The figure of my past stood before me, now a swirling mass of darkness and regret. You cannot escape your choices. It howled, but I stood firm, the light radiating from me like a beacon. I am not defined by my mistakes. I choose love. I choose connection, not isolation. With a surge of defiance, I stepped into the shadows, confronting the figures that had once made me tremble. I will embrace you. You are part of my story, but you will not dictate my fate. As the oppressive weight of the darkness began to wane, I felt tendrils of light wrapping around the painful memories instead of lingering in regret. The whispers morphed, turning from insidious taunts into beautiful echoes of both joy and sorrow. In that moment, the shadowy figure faltered, swirling around me like smoke, and I could feel the energy of those I loved intertwining harmoniously. Memories of laughter, of warmth, of fleeting moments surged as I held tight to Lena's memory and the love that had kept us connected beyond the shadows. Lena, I'm fighting for us. For the love we shared and the future we deserve. You are my strength. I called out, a wave of power riding through me, sweeping away the vortex of despair that had threatened to swallow me whole. With every ounce of some of my journey pouring into that moment, a brilliant light erupted from my core. The shadows screamed, shrieking in defeat as it battled against the overwhelming wave of affection and hope I unleashed. The light blossomed outward, sweeping across the darkness like a tide, reclaiming what was lost and giving freedom to the echoes of the past. As the darkness dimmed, for the first time, I felt the weight of my burdens lift. The shadows were no longer tearing at my spirit but releasing me from their grip. I could see Lena's face, illuminated within the light as she shimmered with joy, and I reached out my hand, feeling her warmth beckoning back to me. Suddenly everything became clear. Our lives are woven together by shared love and experience. We can illuminate the darkness only if we do so together. I shouted, plunging deeper into the light radiating from my heart. The shadows erupted into a brilliant burst of color, consumed by the beauty of overcoming despair. In that moment, the world shifted, and light flooded my mind, illuminating every corner of sorrow and regret that I had carried for too long. I felt free, liberated from the shackles of pain that had held me hostage. Lena stepped from the shadows, her silhouette radiant, her presence more vivid than I had ever imagined. Her smile was infectious, and as she drew closer, I could feel the bond between us solidifying like the brightest star. Together, Eli, she whispered, reaching for me, intertwining her fingers with mine. Forever, together. As the darkness splintered into oblivion, we stood hand in hand, two souls shining with the light of shared truths and embraced futures. The world around us stabilized, the shadows fading into the recesses of memory as an exhilarating warmth flowed through me, reminding me of the power of love, resilience, and the importance of remembering who we truly are. I gazed up at the sky, the promise of a new dawn breaking before us, illuminating the horizon with the tale of our triumph, the light pushing back against the night. And it was then that I understood, I had not just survived, I had learned to live fiercely, acutely aware that it was in our collective narratives that we found healing. With hearts entwined and paths illuminated, we would forge ahead into a future ripe with possibility. Lena looked at me, her eyes shimmering with unwavering resolve, and together we stepped forward, into the light of a brand new day. And as I held her gaze, as she smiled softly and joy radiated from her presence, I realized, sometimes the greatest battles we fight are not against the darkness outside but the fears within. In embracing who we are and remembering the love that shapes us, we can always find our way home.